mostly of her happiness, right? Her pure land, her happiness and so on. But it was very interesting for me because we were like twins, right? We were so close. I really felt that, I held her in my arms when she died. I know where she went, how she went, it was very good. But then, so I felt good about her, but in myself, there were two things. First, I wanted to tell her something, and then she wasn't there, right? That was one. But the second thing was that she was like all of space. So she's never gone, she's just there wherever, it's just like a mental state pervading everything. And that, of course, is nice. But one has to get to that. If in life one thinks more of the other than of oneself, one will not be vulnerable. And if one thinks of what can I get from this one or that one, what will they bring me and so on, one will be vulnerable. So giving love now, thinking of it something to give and share, not expecting also when our dear ones fall away and so it'll not be really tight. Thank you. Yes, sir? In the International Center? No, come over right now. The International Center. Here in New York, in London, here in London. The World Center, oh yes, World Center, yes, International Center, World Center, yes, whatever. Yes, we loved it. We loved it very much. We took several videos of him. He and I went through the woods together and so on. We talked about a lot of things. He really liked it. He really liked it. He really eased up, and everything. Nothing formal, totally relaxed. It was very, very nice. Really nice. He really liked it. He was also happy in Spain. We had 3,500 people in Spain for my Pova course and his initiations. Right? This was also very, very big down there in Malaga. And there also he just really relaxed. He likes us. He likes being with lay people, and so on, where he isn't checked after all kinds of prescriptions and things to do or not to do, where he can just relax. He really enjoys that. He loved the World Center. He really liked it. Yes, sir? Of worker speech, yeah. If I remember, I will repeat the 4 different ways of working with speech. Speaking the truth, not lie, to harm others. Of course, there are different kinds of lies, right? Your girlfriend wants something in the morning, and you're late for the bus, right? So, okay, you could say the bus was late, the bus wasn't there, whatever. You could say things like that. It's not a serious lie, right? But there are other lies, saying like, I saw him with a bloody axe in his hand on the day when the old lady died, you saw nothing, right? That's a bad one, right? And another one that's also bad is for instance, when you claim something, some spiritual development you don't have. When you say, okay, all the Buddhas come and tell me something every afternoon, and stuff like that, and you've never even seen one, right? Then, people will think, oh, he's very smart, I should take his advice, and you give a lot of useless advice, people get a lot of trouble, and that doesn't work. So, small white lies, to get around difficult things, sort of are stupid, it's better just to say I couldn't get out of bed, right, than anything else. But somebody holding me all the time, no chance, right? It's better to say that than act into lie and know what kind of boss you have afterwards, right? So that's not it, but serious lying is not good, and telling the truth is actually useful, especially if you lie. You always have to remember what you said, and that's so difficult. I cannot play cards because everybody can see in my face what I have in my hand, right? I cannot act, I have no chance to act in any way, right? So that's the story, right? So like this, so it's better not to lie, really, it's smart. We had a big split in our lineage recently, since about 92, where the Chinese came in with one candidate of our main Kamapa, and after that we came with our candidate, right? And we just said it's ours, right? But they came with a false letter, they fabricated a false letter of recognition and stuff like that. And because they started with a false story, with a lie, then after that everything just became doubled up, right? Everything. Now they can't do anything. They have all the Chinese behind them, they have the Tibetan government in exile behind them, and they're frozen in a cauldron of lies, and they can't even move. While we move around happily and do as we like, because we only said what we know, and what we know is true, right? So lies are very expensive, we shouldn't have them. The next thing is splitting people, not split people, right? Okay, if they all going out to steal horses, maybe you could say something, only half steal horses, or whatever else, right? But anyway, generally splitting people, so many bad feelings come up. The third thing is about lifting the mental level, right? Getting it off, with just sports and fashion, right? Which are quite superficial and have no lasting meaning, and then to the potential of mind, new discoveries of psychology or philosophy, new views of philosophy, scientific things that have come up. All this that shows mind itself, right? And the last one is expressing, that people learn to express themselves in such a way that that people will like to listen to them. I mean, if you give the deepest truth, if you speak in such a way nobody will listen, there's no benefit, right? And half our literature and half our songs are meaningless things, some very beautiful, right? Like that. And having ultimately no meaning. So these are the four things. Yes, all the way down. One lovely young lady. You're not a lovely young lady. Yes, check out, lady. Tell us. Well, there's an old question about this, actually from David Neal, a French lady who spent some time in Tibet and said some things there. And there was a story about a Christian woman and a Buddhist woman, who both dreamt that they had a chance to go to bed with the devil. And I think the Christian one said, well, let's try it and see it. And the Buddhist said, well, it might not have such good influence and stuff like that. I mean, you can have both views. The best thing you can do with thoughts is let them be natural. Think you're like somebody watching CNN or BBC and stay with the big picture. And let the thoughts and feelings be this news bar moving by underneath and so on. And if interesting, you act, and if not interesting, you don't act. It's actually a fact where women, because they are more honest and more sensitive, honest to themselves, we lie better, we men lie better to ourselves, the women lie better to others, right? So we men forget and they remember, so we're usually happier, right? I mean, all these different things. But anyway, get beyond the ordinary psychology, right? It's an example, it's something where women actually are more vulnerable than men because they take their feelings and thoughts more seriously. While men think, wasn't there before, won't be there later, not worry now, right? Or where's the next beer or whatever, right? So in this way, and we had an example with Milarepa, a great yogi about 950 years ago in the Himalayas in Tibet. And he, when women students came to him and talked about their thoughts and their feelings and what he did about them, then he said, if you can see the size of the mountain, how can you worry about some bushes growing on it? If you can see the depth of the ocean, how can you worry about some waves that come and go? If you can recognize the potential of your mind for experience, expression, and all these things, how can you be disturbed by some things which come and go there? So this would be the best. I have, especially for women, I have an example that I would like to share with you because it could actually be useful to you, right? And here, it's about a woman who worked hard all day, you know, she comes home, she sits there and she feels calm and she hears the sound of the kids playing and everything, you know, and everything is fine. Until she suddenly jumps up because she hears that they're going to put the little sister in the salami machine, right? So like this is especially for ladies, right, that you can distinguish between thoughts that you don't need to get active about, that you can just let go naturally, things that many men don't even experience because they're building the next house or the next whatever in their minds, right, that you learn not to take care of it, and then if something is important where you have to act, then you jump in, but you don't jump at everything. Understand the example? Yeah. Yes, and then, yes, the lovely lady who wasn't. Yes, tell us. And who the Shamarpa and the Siddhika or who?
No, Shaman on the Chinese country.
Yeah.
Because we heard it was an interview, but we never heard what happened.
No, there was a meeting, but we have to watch out because the government in exile, the Tibetan government in exile is strongly on the other side. And I understand that because they want to save as much of Buddhism in Tibet as they can. That's completely reasonable, and I agree with that, right? So the only way they can do that is they talk to somebody whom the Chinese accept and whom they can talk to, and this is of course Ujin Trinda, right? They're the Chinese Karmapa candidate that they managed to get accepted so that afterwards they could get a Panchen Lama, and one time they hope they can also decide about the Dalai Lama, right? And then they have control over all of the Tibetans. After so many years, they can do it then, right? And with us, it's another thing. We're not so responsible to Tibet itself. We're responsible to the Karmapa, right? My bond was with the 16th Karmapa, and for that reason, I have to support the one that I consider the reasonable 17th Karmapa, and that's Tayadorje, who's here now today, right? And who will be given an initiation and so on tomorrow. So there's a very big difference there, you know, in this, in how people, in people's motivation. So we're excellent friends, but we're pulling in different directions. The central government wants to thinking of Tibet and thinking of the lineage. We're thinking of the lineage. So that's more or less how it is. I'm not calling anybody bad, and I know they also don't say that about me, that we are friends when we meet, but we have different agendas, we have different things that are important. So, but anyway, the Ujin Trinda had invited Shamarpa 3 times, saying that he wanted to meet him because he really respected him. Kunzi Shamarpa went there, their meeting was excellent. But then the press corps of the Tibetan government in exile got hold of it, and they made a terrible story out of it. Every time Kunzi Shamarpa even gets close to the Gelugpas, you know, they go against him. 200 years ago, they prohibited his reincarnation. When he was in Nepal, they started a small border war between Tibet and Nepal, and they said that because he was in Nepal, he was holding the enemy, he was helping the enemy, even though he didn't even know there was a war. Then after that, you know, they took over his places and everything like that, and now he has to fight to get every little bit back again, and it takes time, right? So it's, they don't like Kunzi Shamarpa. He was also the first one who said what the Dalai Lama is saying now, that we have to divide the political and the religious thing. You cannot do both. You cannot do both. Political is always vested interest, and religious, at least in the case of Buddhism, can be totally clear and understandable like that. So, yes, yes, sir.
Earlier you were giving some advice and strategies on how to deal with certain negative emotions like jealousy or pride and things like that. And I was just wondering if you have any strategies or advice on how to deal with the negative emotion of fear.
Fear. That's a very good. I gave different explanations on how to explain it, how to fight different disturbing feelings like jealousy and anger and attachment and so on. And what would I do against the negative understanding of fear? Well, first I would like to say that actually fear is a tertiary thing. In the center stands ignorance, mind's inability to understand that the seer, the thing seen, and the act of seeing are parts of the same totality. An unenlightened mind is compared to an eye that can see everything outside, but it cannot see itself. So this is how it is. So this is the first thing there, this inability of mind to recognize its own nature. And this eye-like quality that you can see things outside but not yourself brings the two first disturbing feelings. These two disturbing feelings is attachment for what you want because you think you're not everything, so you want something, and aversion against what you don't like, which you think may threaten your happiness or bring pain or something like that. Then after that again, with those feelings, then come the tertiary level of feelings. Then from attachment appears greed and avarice because what we like to have for tomorrow. From anger appears envy because the ones we don't like, we don't want to see happy. And from ignorance removes pride, the stupid pride which thinks I'm better than you. And in this way, makes everything stiff and frozen and badly communicating like that. And then from the anger comes fear. If we allow that mind fills up with negative feelings, if we allow that mind, wishes out a bad trouble or stuff like that, then every time mind looks back on itself, it sees something it doesn't like and it tries to run away from that. You see, to give a big picture, we talk about Buddhism, we talk about 4 kinds of mental disease. One kind is what we get from drugs and alcohol in former lives, as too much of it, right? Which means a brain that doesn't function too well this time. Another one is that we destroy our brain with chemicals in this life, like a lot of my generation did. Luckily not so many of yours, but I lost nearly all of my generation, all the friends of Copenhagen from that time. The whole thing disappeared on the drugs, and they were really our best minds. Well, then anyway, there were 2 more things. Then there is the fact that we let ourselves hang through, so that there's no protection, and the best protection we have is our inborn happiness, right? And we always say, oh, look at this, nothing disturbing can get close like that. But if we just hang around like couch potatoes, not doing anything, not experiencing anything, just complaining about Blair or now the new face, the Scottish face that's coming in, or whatever else is happening, right? Dr. Brown there, if you look at that, or whatever, then, you lower your threshold of protection so far that foreign energies that would like to experience a body can get in. And that's in schizophrenia, with there are several minds in the body. And finally, then, you also have a paranoia, and that's the case I talked about there, where you fill mind with so much anger and so on, that every time mind looks at itself, it gets disturbed. It doesn't like that, right? So I would say the best thing against fear is wish everybody countless kinds of happiness all the time. Whenever think, oh, may all be so happiness, make that into your inner mantra, or anybody's inner mantra who's got fear problems, and it'll disappear. One day we'll meet on the parachuting range or something like that, or in a good curve on a motorcycle, and you'll feel totally at home, right? Driving with great drivers, and enjoying that, and whatever, right? So, yes, that's what happens. It's only, it can be changed, it can be transformed. Yes, dear?
It's a question about the Eurocenter.
Yes.
What is exactly the function of the Eurocenter?
Yes. Yeah, that's very good. That's something. What's exactly the function of the World Center, Europe Center? Germans don't quite say World Center. They don't like it so much. The rest is more natural to say. They have in their national song, everything in the world, and so on. And it was abused a few times and so on. But here, we don't have so much fun. We think international, that's where all the stupid people who are sent away from everywhere are sent, right? So we can be international together, right? That's all the people who go to international things are the ones nobody wants, so we send them over there, right? So well, to us, world is good, but international is not so good. That's right. Second and third tier, meat and stuff like that. So anyway, whatever we call it, the danger is and actually it's an old thought also, because now today with streaming and internet and so on, the danger is diminished, right, in a lot of ways. But the basic thing we want the center for is that there is a place where everybody can come together, where everybody can learn together, and not just get electronic contacts, right, virtual contacts and so on, but really meet, right, talk together, have a beer together, chase each other's girlfriends or whatever, right? I mean, a good place where people can come together and be happy and really a live bridge happens between people. Good connection happens between them. This is the idea. This is what we're looking for. And I would say that we can do it there. We have 50 hectares of beautiful land surrounded by woods, there are also woods inside, we have a view over the Alps, snowy Alps to the left, a beautiful lake in front, we have everything, we are at 800 meters approximately, means we have a lot of snow in winter, if there is snow in winter, right? And all these different things, so it's an amazing place, and we need to have that with the physical contact because of the closeness, right? And rotating people from Latin America, from Spanish speakers, and people from English-speaking countries, and from Slav-speaking countries of different kinds, Romanic-speaking countries, Celtic, we don't have so many of those. We might catch somebody from Wales or down from Wales or whatever, right? And so on. So everybody, so we really have a living place where people can meet, and there is a lot of space there, and they really want us. The town, the name of the town is also very auspicious. Immen in Old German means bees. Immenstadt is the town of bees. And the place we got big was 500 kilometers further north in Germany, at a place of 300 miles north of Germany, at a place near Kassel. And there it was at Immenhausen, the house of bees, and stuff like that. So, this spreading and sweetening tendency, right, that is connected with bees, right, and so on. This seems to follow us. I was very happy about that when I found that out. Bees float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Your hands can't hit, but your eyes can't see, right? Yes, it's great. Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes. Over here, white gentleman, big beard. Yes. Is that different? Yeah?
Yes, there are different and
what will be different? Is there a difference between being Buddha and being enlightened? Because Buddhas appear very rarely, and there's supposed to be many enlightened beings here and now. And so on. Well, actually, no, there's not. Not in Buddhism there isn't. Buddhism is very clearly defined. The whole thing of what we reach and experience is very clearly defined. Liberation is where we no longer feel like the target because we've removed the veil of disturbing feelings due to removing the idea of an own me or self. This easily people can reach. I think even I've reached it, to be quite honest, right? That I don't take things personally anymore, but I am disturbed if people disturb my work, right? Because I think that's useful. But in my own case, you know, I don't take things as personal and being deflected on me. So that's one thing, but enlightenment is a completely other dimension. Enlightenment, that's like knowing what Mrs. Jones is cooking 5 houses from here and what she's thinking while she does it, right? And this is very rare. I met most of the great lamas, you know, Hannah and I, my wife and myself, we managed to meet them before the world got crazy, before they all died. Most died in the 80s, some in the 90s. One of the last true giants who also came here several times, from Rinpoche, died in 2003. But after that, if you go to the really old great teachers who spent 30 years in retreat in the Himalayas, you know, or other places, and in Tibet, and who came out not knowing how to speak anymore because they hadn't talked to anybody and so on. I mean, if we look at those people, you know, and so on, then there's nobody alive today, as far as I really know. There may be one very old Sakya Lama, but he is, you know, he's not very active. He cannot do very much. And I mean, but among all these different teachers, the only one where I'm really sure that he had this capacity was the 16th Karmapa that you see here to your right, to the right side of myself, seen from you. He, with the black ground that we have here, you know, he actually, Hannah and I, my wife Hannah and I became his first Western students back in 1969 in Nepal. And we were out there to acquire some smokable plant products, right? You know, whatever you call it. So we became the students there. And then after that, we were students till he died in 81. And during all those years, you know, we were with him. And I mean, I'm really convinced he knew what happened everywhere. It's not that he was under the 10,000 volts of complete insight all the time, which is like, I've had that experience. It's like having 2 fingers in the plug and pulling all the electricity of London through your bones, you know, like, it's an energy like this, you know, you cannot bend your body and so on because the energy inside is so high, you know, you can't bend it anywhere. You're kept like this and everything is transparent, you know, and you are feeling through the vibration of your nerves or something else, but you are not feeling with your normal senses and all these things, you know. But so he wasn't in that all the time. He could also be relaxed and so on. But the moment he leaned back in meditation and so on, then it happened. And in a few seconds he just said, these people are leaving home now. They will arrive here at this time and they should talk to those people. And that's happening there, and make it go like that and stuff like that. And then it came up again and went normal. So I mean, full enlightenment the whole time, totally with all the